Welcome to the Deep Dive Library. We're not just, skimming books here.
No, definitely not.
We're here to really break them down, pull out those actionable insights, especially for you if you're focused on growth, personal or professional.
Exactly. Taking the core ideas and making them usable.
Today, we're diving deep into Gary Vaynerchuk's Crush It, specifically looking at the audiobook transcript.
Crush It. A classic in the personal branding space.
Right. And our mission today is pretty focused.
Yeah.
How do you turn that thing you love, your passion, into a real personal brand, a real business, especially now in this digital world?
It's interesting going back to it. Some of those ideas felt so new then.
Totally.
Yeah.
And now they're almost baseline, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Foundational stuff. Leveraging passion online, building community. He was definitely ahead of the curve.
We know a lot of you listening are looking for ways to get informed, get actionable advice, but without feeling totally overwhelmed. So this deep dive, it's kind of like that shortcut.
Getting right to the heart of it.
Okay, so where does he start? He lays out these 3 simple rules.
Yeah, love your family, work super hard, and live your passion. Pretty straightforward on the surface.
But he really hammers home that passion part. Like, that's the engine, right?
It is. He sees it as the absolute key, especially for thriving today. It's not just a factor, it's the factor.
So let's unpack that phrase, live your passion. What does that actually mean in practice? It's more than just like enjoying your Mondays, right?
Oh yeah, much more. For Vaynerchuk, it's that feeling where you're genuinely excited to wake up. Work doesn't feel like, work. It feels like play, almost.
So the lines blur.
Exactly. He even talks about not needing vacations in the traditional sense, because what you're doing day to day is already fulfilling. It's a huge contrast to just, clocking in and collecting a paycheck.
Right. And he lived this. He talks about growing his dad's liquor store, Shoppers Discount Liquors, which, involved a lot of old school advertising, expensive stuff.
Like New York Times ads, Wine Spectator,
yeah,
big budget things.
Yeah. But then he contrasts that with building his own brand online. Wine Library TV. Much less money, relatively speaking, but way more hustle.
Tons of hustle. But the impact, the engagement, it was a different game. And you could tell he was fired up about it.
It really shows that power shift, doesn't it? From relying on big media buys to relying on passion and, sheer effort online.
It's the democratization of influence, really. The internet just blew the doors open for individuals who had that drive, that passion, but maybe not the massive capital. Vaynerchuk saw where the attention was going.
No, okay, wine. People get that. You can sell wine, but what about, World of Warcraft? Or belly dancing? He tackles this head on, right?
He does. He insists you can monetize pretty much any passion, even the really niche ones. He mentions people like Perez Hilton back in the day, building an empire on celebrity gossip.
Or Z Frank with that unique art thing he was doing.
Exactly. It proves that if there's an interest, however specific, there's probably a community for it online somewhere. You just have to find them or let them find you.
But how do you know if your passion, your fun hobby, actually has legs as a business?
That's a great question for you to think about. Passion is the start, but Vaynerchuk would say you need to check if there's an existing conversation.
Right.
Are people already talking about this online? Forums? Facebook groups? If you can tap into that and add real value,
then there's potential.
There's potential. Find your tribe, basically.
And what about timing? People get hung up on this. Is now the right time? Should I wait until the economy improves?
He's pretty blunt about that. He says there's never a bad time. In fact, he argues downturns can actually be good times to start.
Really? Why is that?
Because when times are tough, people get more selective. They look for real value, for things that genuinely stand out. If you're authentic, if you're filling a need, a downturn can actually make you more visible against the noise.
Okay, that makes sense. So you've got the passion, you're ready to start regardless of timing. What's next? He moves into personal branding.
Yes, and this is crucial. He argues personal branding isn't just for, celebrities or CEOs anymore. It's for everyone.
It's not optional.
Not anymore. It's a necessity in this connected world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, even working inside a company, your online presence is building a brand for you, intentionally or not.
And the key to doing it right, in his view,
authenticity.
Yeah.
100%. He talks about his own style, loud, maybe over the top for some, but it was him. And people responded to that genuineness. Don't try to be someone else.
Be yourself, basically. And he connects that personal brand directly to the business itself. They're not separate things.
No, they're intertwined. People connect with people online. Your personality, your story, your values, That's often why someone chooses your thing over someone else's. They're buying into you.
He has a great example about word of mouth, too, how it's amplified now.
Right, the Siamese cat breeder example on Twitter.
Yeah.
Reaching potentially thousands instantly for free, just through conversation and sharing. Compare that to just relying on your local neighbors, hearing about your cats. The scale is just massive.
And this is a big one. Even if you're not trying to build a brand, you are, just by being online.
Absolutely. Think about, say, a photographer just posting pictures on Instagram or Flickr. Maybe they're not actively selling prints.
Right.
But their style, their comments, how they interact, it all adds up. Creates an impression, a brand. Your tweets, your blog comments, your LinkedIn updates, they all tell a story about you.
So essentially, your online activity is your new CV, your resume.
In a way, yeah. It's dynamic, it's real-time. Employers, clients, collaborators, they're going to look you up. And what they find gives them a much richer picture than a static piece of paper ever could. You need to ask yourself, what story is your online activity telling right now?
Good question. Okay, passion identified, branding understood. Let's talk practicalities. Where do you actually, put your stuff out there? He mentions 3 main ways.
Video, audio, and the written word. Those are the big 3 content mediums he focuses on.
And his advice on choosing.
Go with what feels natural to you. What's in your DNA, as he says? Are you comfortable on camera? Do you like the sound of your own voice, or maybe interviewing others? Or are you best at expressing yourself through writing? Lean into your strength.
Because that's where the authenticity comes through strongest.
Exactly. But just picking a format isn't enough, obviously. The content itself needs to be, well, great.
Right. What's his formula for great content?
It's that mix. Passion plus expertise. You gotta love it, but you also gotta know it. Do your homework. Become the expert, or at least strive to be. Offer real value. Passion delivers it. Expertise gives it substance.
And he talks about storytelling, even for topics that seem dry.
Yeah, like the accountant example.
Yeah.
Making complex finance stuff, engaging through video with personality.
Yeah.
Or the real estate agent, not just listing houses, but telling the story of the town, the community.
Finding that human angle.
Right. Weave a narrative, people connect with stories.
He also throws in a dose of realism, though. You need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, that self-awareness check. Are you really passionate enough? And are you really good enough or willing to get good enough to be a leader in this space?
Because you can monetize almost anything.
You can. But the level of success often depends on how deep that niche is and how much you stand out. Even a small niche can provide a good living if you're the go-to person.
Okay. And he makes a distinction between a website and a blog. What's the difference for him?
The website is more logistics. The store, the contact form, maybe the basic about us, the blog. That's the heart and soul. That's where you share your thoughts, go deep on your topic, connect with people. It's your home base online.
Got it. So the blog is central. Now, how do you get people to that home base? He says platforms are everything.
Yeah, he saw that shift happening early, away from relying on traditional media towards leveraging the internet and all these social marketing sub-platforms, as he calls them.
Let's break down some of those platforms he mentioned back then, understanding some might have evolved. Starting with the blog itself. What's key there?
Call to action buttons. Make it super easy for people to subscribe, follow you elsewhere, share your stuff, turn passive readers into active community members.
Okay. Then Facebook. He talked about personal profiles versus fan pages.
Right. Personal profile is more for, friends, casual stuff.
Yeah.
There was even a friend limit back then. The fan page was built for business, for brands, unlimited fans, tools for messaging them, better visibility. Still needs to be authentic, but it's designed for that broader reach.
And Twitter, the pulse of society.
He saw it as amazing for bite-sized thoughts, quick updates, but also for R&D, asking questions, seeing what people are buzzing about, and crucially, driving traffic back to your blog.
Plus that search function.
Oh yeah, search.twitter.com, finding conversations happening right now about your topic and jumping in. Just, don't sound like spam. Be part of the conversation.
What about visual platforms like Flickr?
Perfect if your passion is visual photography, art, design, crafts. Share great images, link back to your blog, and engage with others on the platform. Comment thoughtfully on their work. It builds connections.
And video, YouTube, and Ustream.
He saw YouTube as the big ocean searchable content, broad reach. Ustream, which is now different, was more like a live interactive thing, a cocktail party he called it. Q&As, live chats, more intimate engagement.
He also mentioned some tools for efficiency like Ping.fm and TubeMogul.
Yeah, those were about syndication. Post once, spread it everywhere. Ping.fm for text updates across networks, 2Mogul for distributing video to multiple sites. Tools like that pop up and change, but the principle is efficiency, maximize your reach without killing yourself manually posting everywhere.
And Facebook Connect.
That was about making it easy for people to join your site using their Facebook login, and it often shared that activity back to Facebook, potentially bringing in their friends, simplifying sign up, leveraging social proof.
Okay, so you've got your content, you're thinking about platforms, but none of it matters without
Hustle, relentless hustle.
He doesn't sugarcoat this part.
Not at all. He basically says, be prepared to bleed out of your eyeballs at the computer. He pushes back hard against the idea that being your own boss is somehow easier or less work than a 9-to-5.
If anything, it's often more demanding, right?
Way more, especially at the start. But he also argues that hustle is the great equalizer today. If you don't have the big budget, you can make up for it with sheer effort and smart work.
But it's not just about frantic activity. There's another crucial ingredient.
Patience. Massive patience. Success doesn't happen overnight. He talks about his own journey, how long it took him to get noticed, like getting on Conan O'Brien.
It took him like 18 months.
Something like that, yeah. He compares it to developing his wine palate that took years of tasting and learning. Same applies here. Build the foundation first. Don't rush to cash in.
Right. Build the audience, build the value. Which leads us to community. He says creating community is the whole game.
It really is the core of it. It's not just broadcasting, it's interacting, starting conversations, responding, engaging. Like meeting your neighbors, but online.
He uses that example of Jared Montz, the soccer guy.
Yeah, building his online soccer academy by being super active in the online soccer world, commenting, helping people out, just being present and valuable.
Finding your internet trench, as he calls it, where people are already talking about your thing.
Exactly. Go there, but don't just drop links. His approach is, 1, create great content on your own blog. 2, go find relevant conversations elsewhere, other blogs, forums, Twitter, and add thoughtful comments. Be helpful, insightful. Then maybe leave a link back to your blog if it's relevant.
And 3,
pay attention to the people who do engage back, who click through, who comment on your stuff. Capture them, he says, by acknowledging them, replying, building that relationship.
And back on your blog, those call to action buttons and clear design help convert those visitors into actual community members.
Right. Make it easy for them to stick around, to subscribe, to follow, to become part of things.
He also emphasizes that it's not just about raw numbers, right? It's about the quality of the engagement.
Absolutely. 10 truly engaged fans who care, who participate, are worth way more than 1,000 passive followers who never interact. Celebrate that first comment, that first real fan. That's the seed.
Okay, so you've hustled, you've been patient, you're building that engaged community. Now can we talk about money?
Yes, now we can talk monetization. Once the foundation is there, you can start looking at those revenue ponds, as he calls them.
Let's run through a few advertisers.
Yeah, because now you have a targeted audience. Advertisers love that.
Yeah.
It's way more efficient for them than blasting ads on TV, hoping the right person sees it. Your niche blog or podcast is suddenly very valuable to the right companies.
Affiliate marketing?
Sure, recommending products or services you genuinely use and believe in. The key here is transparency, though. You have to tell your audience if you're getting a cut. Trust is everything.
What about creating your own stuff? Self-swag.
Totally. T-shirts, mugs, ebooks, online courses, templates, whatever makes sense for your audience and your brand. It's revenue, but it's also deeper connection and marketing.
He also mentions writing for others, offering services.
Right. Leverage your expertise. Guest post on bigger sites. If you're the gardening expert, offer workshops or consulting. Turn your knowledge into direct income streams.
Even things like events, book deals, speaking gigs.
Yeah, those often come later, once the brand is really established. Combining sources with other creators for events can be powerful too. He even suggests being bold, like approaching ad agencies early if you see a fit.
But he adds a warning label to all this monetization talk.
He does. Anything's better than zero when you start. Sure, get some wins, but don't drink your own Kool-Aid, as he puts it. Don't get greedy or overvalue yourself too early. Keep focusing on the community and the value. Start slow, build smart.
Now, things change fast online. How do you stay relevant? He talks about reactionary business.
This is so important. It just means being willing and able to adapt, to pivot. So many businesses fail because they dig their heels in, refuse to admit they were wrong, or just miss the signs that the landscape is shifting.
He gives examples, right? Like finding an unexpected audience.
Yeah, like the person aiming for one group but finding another group, maybe completely different, is actually way more receptive. The Martha Stewart, of kid sandwiches, finding a beer audience, or crystal champagne maybe missing the mark with the hip-hop crowd initially. You have to pay attention to who's actually responding.
And social media is perfect for getting that real-time feedback.
Exactly. It's a constant stream of data if you're listening. What are people clicking? What are they sharing? What questions are they asking? Use that information to adjust your course. It's about being nimble.
And this applies beyond just online stuff, right? Being reactionary is key everywhere.
For sure. It's about capitalizing on opportunities as they emerge wherever they are.
Okay, finally he zooms out. Beyond the tactics, beyond the money, he talks about legacy.
Yeah, this is the bigger picture. Everything you put online, every interaction, it's part of your story, your digital footprint, your real-time documentary. Think long-term.
It's not just about profit, it's about reputation, impact.
Right. What do you want to be known for? True happiness, he suggests, comes from building something meaningful, something that lasts. He talks about his own focus on customer service, company culture.
Delivering the white Zinfandel himself, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Small actions build a big reputation. Legacy over currency, ultimately.
So wrapping this all up, if we crush it down, what are the absolute core takeaways for someone listening today?
I think it's that powerful mix. Love your family, keep perspective, work incredibly hard. The hustle is real. Live your passion, let that fuel you. Tell your story authentically, be patient, care about the details, the community, and think about that long-term legacy.
And while the platforms he talked about back then might have changed,
the principles haven't. Social media is the tool for now, but the underlying ideas, authenticity, value, community, hustle, patience, those are timeless, really.
So for you listening, the challenge is to take this blueprint, these ideas,
and adapt them. Filter them through your own passion, your own DNA, the platforms that make sense today.
And maybe leave you with this thought. The internet's potential, still huge, still largely untapped in many ways.
Absolutely. So the question becomes, how will you use it? How will you contribute, build your own passionate legacy online? Maybe think about just one small step you can take today to start diving deeper into that passion online. What's that first move?
Yeah, what's that first step? Great question. And that is our deep dive for today. Remember, this isn't just another book podcast. This is the Deep Dive Library,
where ideas become action.
We don't just read books, we really break them down. If you're hungry for those insights, if you're obsessed with growth, ready to apply real lessons, you're definitely in the right place.
Hope you found this useful.
Don't forget to subscribe, maybe leave a comment, share it if you found value. You never know, one idea could spark something big. Hit that bell and let's keep diving deep into your potential.